Go to any grocery store, in any city, anywhere in the world. You will find bins overflowing with ginger. We spend billions of dollars on this tropical root. We rely on it for medicine, for flavor, for heat. But there is a fatal flaw in the system. Take that supermarket ginger, plant it in your garden, then wait for the first frost of winter. The moment the temperature drops, that plant commits thermal suicide. It rots. It dies. It fails you when you need it most. But what if I told you there is a botanical cousin, a forgotten sibling that does not fear the ice? Imagine a ginger that thrives where others perish, a plant that sleeps under the snow at 20 degrees below zero, only to rise stronger in the spring. A crop that produces higher yields, resists disease, and demands almost no labor. It is called Zingiber Mioga, the Japanese ginger. If this plant is superior in cold climates, if it grows perennially without replanting, then you have to ask yourself a very uncomfortable question. Why isn't it in the store? Why did modern agriculture bury it? Welcome to ancestral soil. To understand why we lost this plant, we must first understand where it was found. The archive opens not in a sunny tropical field, but in the deep, mist-covered forests of ancient East Asia. For thousands of years, while the rest of the world was struggling to cultivate the tropical ginger of India, a diva that demanded scorching sun and constant heat, the people of the Japanese archipelagos and Korean mountains relied on something else. They relied on the shadow. Mioga was not a crop of the open fields. It was the treasure of the forest floor. It evolved to flourish in the damp, dark corners where sunlight barely touches the ground. In the ecological architecture of a survival garden, this is a miracle. It turns the useless, shady edges of your land into a food production zone. But the true genius of the ancients was in the harvest. With common ginger, you must commit an act of violence. You dig up the root, you kill the plant to eat it. It is a one-time transaction. Mioga is different. The ancients did not dig, they waited. In the late summer, the plant would send up delicate cone-shaped flower buds from the base of the soil. These buds, crisp, zesty, and aromatic, were snapped off by hand. The root remained undisturbed. The plant remained alive. It was a perennial food source that gave year after year, forcing the grower to do nothing but wait. It was the ultimate survival partner. It asked for nothing and gave everything. So, if this plant sustained warriors and homesteaders for millennia, what killed it? The answer lies not in nature, but in the ledger. It wasn't a pest, it wasn't the frost, it was logistics. Mioga was not erased by the soil, it was filtered out by the supply chain. To understand why, look at the common ginger in your kitchen. It dominates the world for one specific reason. It is the ultimate industrial traveler. Common ginger develops a tough, cured skin that seals in moisture. This allows it to be thrown into cargo containers, shipped across oceans, and sit under fluorescent supermarket lights for weeks without spoiling. It is predictable, it is stable, it fits perfectly into the global machine. Mioga is different. Its prize is not the hard root, but the delicate flower bud. It captures the fleeting essence of the season, crisp, zesty, and fragile. To the industrial giants, this is a liability. They cannot standardize it. They cannot store it in a warehouse for months. So, because it refused to be shelf-stable, the system decided it did not exist. But there is a second reason: profit. Modern agriculture is addicted to annuals, plants that die on schedule. This creates a cycle of dependency. You buy the seed, you grow the crop, it dies. You must return next spring to buy again. Mioga breaks this business model. It is a perennial. Once you plant a rhizome, it establishes a colony. It returns every year, expanding its territory without you spending another dime. To a commercial seed company, Mioga is a lost customer. They buried this plant because it offers the one thing the industry hates: independence. But nature does not care about profit margins. And today, modern botany is finally catching up to what the ancients knew 3,000 years ago. Recent studies have vindicated the Mioga plant, revealing a biological machinery designed for resilience in ways that tropical ginger cannot match. Let's look at the hard data. Tropical ginger is biologically programmed for heat. When temperatures drop, its cell walls rupture, turning the root into mush. It is genetically fragile. Mioga, however, possesses a natural antifreeze mechanism. In the bitter cold of USDA Zones 6 and 7, it enters a deep dormancy. It retreats underground, protected by the soil, waiting to explode with life the moment the ground thaws. But the most impressive breakthrough is its relationship with light. Most high-yield crops demand full, direct solar radiation. They fight for the sun. Mioga has evolved to maximize photosynthesis in low-light environments. It thrives in the dappled shade of tree canopies. This shade growth triggers a unique chemical profile. Research indicates that Mioga is rich in alpha-pinene, a compound linked to focus and memory, and potent anti-inflammatory agents found specifically in the flower buds. Science has confirmed the verdict. This is not just a weed. It is a high-performance survival crop that utilizes the one resource most gardeners waste, the shadows. The industry ignored it. Science reclaimed it. Now the only question left is, how do you bring it back to your soil?
Knowledge without action is just trivia. To truly reclaim this plant, you must stop thinking like a farmer of the open fields and start thinking like a steward of the forest. Here is how you bring the shadow ginger home. First, forget everything you know about vegetable gardens. Do not give Mioga the prime, sunny real estate. Look for the dead zones. Look for the north side of your house or the deep, dark shade under an old oak tree. Look for the places where grass refuses to grow. That is where Mioga will build its kingdom. Second, mimic the ancient floor. Mioga hates bare, dry earth. It craves the memory of the forest. Bury the rhizomes 2 inches deep and then cover them heavily with decaying leaves, wood chips, or straw. You are not just planting a root, you are building a sponge that holds moisture. Then the hardest part, patience. For the first year, let it sleep. Let the roots map out the soil. But by the second summer, the harvest begins. You will see them emerging from the base of the stalks, pink and cream-colored spearheads. They look alien, beautiful. Snap them off with your fingers. Do not dig. Do not disturb the mother plant. Slice them thin. They carry the heat of ginger, the zest of a lime, and the crunch of a fresh apple. It is a flavor you cannot buy because it cannot be shipped. It belongs only to the grower. When you plant Mioga, you are doing more than gardening. You are planting an insurance policy. In a world of rising prices and fragile supply chains, you are creating a food source that requires no repurchase, no replanting, and no permission. While the tropical crops wither in the cold and the supermarket shelves fluctuate with the economy, this plant waits for you under the snow. The frost cannot kill it. The market cannot control it. And now, thanks to you, it is no longer forgotten. It is time to bring the shadow ginger back into the light. Welcome home.